In the city in Cyprus in the year 300 BC lived a very rich merchant by the name of Zeno. During a journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship sank, taking with it the entire cargo. Because of this single event, completely beyond Zeno's or anyone else's control, this very rich man suddenly became poor. Imagine you are Zeno. How would you react if the work of your entire life disappeared because of the sheer force of nature? What would be an adequate reaction? Would you be angry, sad, feel like life had deceived you? For most of us, all these reactions would be normal. But not for Zeno, the father of Stoicism. A small change lasts forever, and a small restructuring of your thinking can cause bigger and more significant changes in the future. The essence of Stoicism is in the very definition of acceptance and indifference. After reading the works of Socrates and other great philosophers, Zeno created and taught Stoicism. According to Zeno, although we do not have much control over what happens to us, we do have control over how it affects us, and we must use that control with skill. Over spilt milk, or in this case over sunken goods, Zeno focused on maintaining calmness in the face of the situation, remaining unperturbed and neutral despite his position. Today, people unintentionally perceive Stoics as people who cannot be broken, people who usually do not go to emotional extremes, do not experience fits of anger or anxiety. But the original idea of Stoicism was much deeper, more than just a way to describe people who are not emotional. Stoicism was a way of seeing, describing, and understanding the world. It was a way of life, and this way of life has been preserved through the ages. The philosophy of Stoicism can be applied to modern situations just as it was applied thousands of years ago, and its benefits are just as significant. Stoicism allows us to process negative emotions from negative experiences and turn them into thoughts that give us a unique perspective on the world. Perspective is everything, and every person in the world has different experiences, which means different views on things. Since the Stoics gathered, discussed, and taught philosophy in public places, their shared philosophy became widely known. They believed that Stoic principles could bring great benefit to everyone and to all, so there was no point in hiding this knowledge behind the walls of a school or palace. As a result, everyone from slaves to emperors could learn and become Stoics, and many did. Some of the most famous Stoics in the world include Epictetus, whose name translates as acquired, since he was once a slave, Seneca, a well-known statesman, and Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men to ever exist. Early Stoics practiced what they preached, avoiding all forms of segregation and leading the fight against inequality. They even invented the word cosmopolitan, which literally means citizen of the world. When people now hear this word, we think of cities like New York, Toronto, Dubai, and London because of their diversity. This was the kind of unity and solidarity that the Stoics preached. In the time of the founding of Stoicism, women were not allowed to study philosophy, but the Stoics completely disagreed with this. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, once said, "Men possess the desire and natural inclination towards virtue, but so do women. Women enjoy noble and just deeds no less than men do, and reject what is opposite to such deeds. If that is so, why should men strive to learn how to live well, that is, study philosophy, but women not?" Even in an era when it was not popular, women were free to study Stoicism and become Stoics. So why do so many people embrace Stoicism as a way of life? In a world full of unexpected turns, our emotions can get in our way. In reality, we are not sad because bad things happen to us. We are sad because unexpected bad things happen to us. Rain is good. It provides water for livestock and keeps things cool and moist. But the truth is, When a dark cloud catches you without an umbrella, it is never pleasant. So why do we not start crying as soon as it starts to rain? Because although the situation is bad, we have learned to expect rain. It is inevitable. We cannot control the weather. Though it is unpleasant, the rain passes and light returns. Stoicism teaches us that, in the same way, we should expect that everything bad that could happen will happen. Imagine the worst outcome and feel calm knowing it might happen. One Stoic exercise is known as voluntary discomfort. The exercise is designed to create a sense of gratitude. Here is the continuation of the text with paragraph formatting. The exercise is designed to create a sense of gratitude by practicing going without certain comforts for a few days, like simple clothing or food. This exercise helps you understand that no matter how difficult things become, you will still survive and might even thrive if your mindset is correct. The ability to endure these uncomfortable situations indirectly reflects the state of the world, where we are constantly bombarded with advertisements, making us believe that if we don't have the latest and greatest, if we don't look a certain way or earn a specific amount of money, we will never be happy. This message is more relevant now than ever before. We come into the world knowing nothing and learn about the world for ourselves. The thing is, often these three sources of knowledge, family, society, media, teach us in different ways. The question is, do we need to absorb all of this knowledge? If we do, we might set unrealistic expectations for our lives, which will ultimately lead to disappointment and dissatisfaction. This is not the way to live. Instead, we should focus on self-improvement for its own sake. We should do things for ourselves and only for this reason. Tying any external hopes or secondary attachments to our actions almost always leads to disappointment. Often, we try to fill this void with external things, spending all our money on a luxury car, a house, or even creating a family. Sometimes we do all these things because of their external value, not their inner worth. But Stoicism teaches that if you approach life in this way, you are handing over your happiness to external forces that can always fail. Cars almost always break down, natural disasters destroy entire cities, and the divorce rate rises every year. But even the free things in life have their cost, the price of space, both physical and mental. As Seneca once wrote, "By learning to live with less, you will create space in your life for what truly matters." Instead, we should base our happiness on our inner value as human beings, not on what we have or what we can physically acquire. We should aim to remain calm regardless of what life throws at us, because in the end, we cannot control most things that happen to us, but we can fully control how we react to them. This is the dichotomy of control, the most important principle of Stoic philosophy. As Epictetus said, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can clearly say to myself which are external, not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Stoics teach that we must learn to separate what we can control from what we cannot control. We should define our worth not based on things we cannot control, but on those we can. Striving to achieve goals is a good thing, but it crumbles when something doesn't go the way we want it to. From a Stoic point of view, it is useless to be upset about this. For instance, creating a video on YouTube may seem much easier than being a Roman emperor, but it can still be difficult sometimes. First, you have to come up with an idea, which takes forever. Then, research the idea, reject it because it doesn't work, start over, write the script, create the video, edit it, make the thumbnail, title, and everything else before hitting the upload button. Everything up until the moment you press the upload button is within your control. However, once you press the upload button, power shifts to YouTube's algorithm. Yet many people judge the success of their YouTube channel or Instagram account based on the number of views and followers, which are mostly out of their control. Stoics teach that instead, you should evaluate the success of your work based on the effort you put into it, not on the result or any external hopes. Trust the process, living with less means, freeing yourself from the social chains you've placed on yourself. Consider someone who worked hard for several months, now deserving a promotion, and approaches their boss with an outline of their achievements. The boss thanks them but doesn't offer the promotion, and the person leaves, thinking they aren't doing well at their job. They don't consider that the boss might have just woken up in a bad mood, or that someone else could have been ahead of them for reasons they don't know about. Yet, they are still upset. If they had simply evaluated the quality of their work and continued doing what they were doing to achieve their desired promotion, they might have been much happier overall. With the right perspective, their goal would not have diminished. It would have just been postponed. This shift in thinking lies in understanding that you can live a comfortable life without all the things money can buy. There are 4 main virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is the ability to separate the internal from the external and knowing how to choose our response to what happens. In that space lies our power to choose our reaction. Courage means standing firm and resisting hardship. Temperance or self-control is what I've just demonstrated, doing more with fewer resources, saying more with fewer words. While Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk fight for the top of the Forbes list, Stoics believe that the limit of wealth should be having only what is necessary and sufficient. Justice, the most important of all virtues, teaches that no one should harm another because we are all born for the good of others, to do good for others, not just for ourselves. Nelson Mandela was one of Africa's most famous leaders in his fight against apartheid. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, where he spent 27 years. After his release, Mandela was elected president of South Africa, and many expected him to harshly punish all those involved in apartheid or his imprisonment. But of course, he didn't. During his imprisonment, Mandela read the works of Marcus Aurelius and absorbed many fundamental Stoic values. Rather than seeking retribution against the guilty, Mandela called upon his people to do the opposite: relax and rebuild. He emphasized that the past was already beyond their control, and the only thing they could do was find a way to move forward and build a better nation. This is the way of the Stoic. In modern medicine, Stoicism lies at the foundation of therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and logotherapy. CBT helps patients identify negative thinking patterns that might cause emotional or behavioral problems. It allows you to logically challenge the validity of these negative thoughts. And when you realize that many of them are unfounded, you can replace them with more productive and healthier beliefs. Logotherapy is based on the Stoic principle that people are driven by purpose. Even in the darkest situations, we can fill our lives with meaning and happiness simply by finding this purpose. However, as many of us know, that's easier said than done. It's a process, like everything else. We need to recalibrate our thinking, align it with the Stoic way, and live in harmony with our happiness. We should practice self-respect by redefining our sense of worth around things we can control. By doing this, we can stop obsessing over the things we can't control, and as a result, lead much happier and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism helps us weather the storms of the past and the present so we can reach calmer and more peaceful waters. The truth is, we all sink sometimes, and we all will eventually sink. But we can find peace in knowing that we lived a good life, even if it wasn't as long as we had hoped. Because remember, everything has an end. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope these tips are useful to you. Share it with those who need it, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Wisdom must be shared in order to flourish. Write in the comments, "I am a Stoic," and I will know that you made it to the end. Now, do you choose the path of Stoicism? To the right or to the left, you have two Stoic videos you'll enjoy. Until next time.